We are live.
Hey guys, yep, we're live. Eric, what are we talking about today? It's Monday. It's the week leading into Memorial Day weekend. What's on deck? What's happening out there?
Great question, Kevin. Things are moving fast, man. I don't know what your pipeline looks like, but mine is super healthy. A lot of deals being done. Some attrition. There are some deals that are not making it through quality of earnings. But by and large, Main Street seems pretty strong. I put out those tweets. They're a little bit of engagement bait, but I put out the tweets about the strength of Main Street, and like everybody seems to be on the same page that Main Street seems to be pretty strong, and a lot of folks kind of looking to us to be a oasis in somewhat turbulent waters and real estate and cryptocurrency and venture capital and all the other stuff going on economically. I mean, we're not totally immune. We've got the debt ceiling looming.
Everyone's favorite subject these days.
Yeah.
What does that mean for small business? I mean, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, but you know, uh, financial markets love to talk about this, right? It wreaks havoc on index funds and things like that when we get to the brink. But like Main Street, are our clients worried? Should we be worried? I mean, we're a year into this venture. What's going on?
Well, I told everybody on Twitter yesterday to not be worried. I'm like, control what you can control, and we have no ability to increase the debt ceiling. So, like, I'm over here doing deals and focusing on my clients and my family. But, yeah, we should definitely be worried. If they don't increase the debt ceiling, the U.S. government will lose its ability to continue to issue debt, which, frankly, we're living off of debt. I tweeted about it. Somebody immediately replied, I think, quite astutely, like, forget about the ceiling, let's talk about the debt
Yeah,
itself. And I'm like, okay, I've heard that a lot. I don't know
yeah.
what that means.
Well,
The Bitcoin people reply back, they go, it's not real. I don't
that's
know.
little
But
outside of our wheelhouse, but I think it exposes one of the things that's a little bit of a lack of understanding in how these work. Because I talk to a lot of people who think an SBA loan is a loan actually made by the federal government using funds of the Small Business Administration. And so there's that concern, right, that if there's a government shutdown, does the money dry up? Right,
right.
which I don't think is true. Right, an SBA loan is really just any other commercial loan advanced by a bank, but it's backed and guaranteed by the SBA. It's that guarantee from the federal government that makes it so unique. But the funds come from the bank, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, and actually, that I even had made that misconception. I was thinking, we get a debt ceiling that doesn't increase. We get a government shutdown in lending, and all of a sudden they can't do 7A loans.
Yeah,
That's probably not true. I think that the guarantee that backs the 7A loan, because that's the magic, is that conventional debt is issued by the financial institution, backed by an 80%, I believe it's 80% guarantee by the federal government, that if they follow the rules, if the lender follows the rules, and if the borrower defaults, then the federal government will back up the lender for that note. And so because of that, they can lend on terms that are much more advantageous than they typically would be able to. The issue is if the federal government that's supporting that backstop all of a sudden is less credit worthy because they are not able to issue debt, or they've defaulted on debt in the past, banks aren't able to rely on them as much. All of a sudden, banks aren't able to be as generous with terms. That hits Main Street hard.
I think that's right. And someone will fact check us, I'm sure. I think it's 75%, not 80%, but someone keep us honest. Um, but I think that's like the most interesting part of the story here, right? Is the guarantee has never had to be part of the lender's underwriting process. And all of a sudden, right, when you play this brinkmanship, I think, what was it, 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. I don't remember, losing track of time, how often this happens. But it was the first time in connection with one of these, like, right up to the brink, that the credit rating of U.S. debt was downgraded for the first time, right? Something like that happens again. all of a sudden these commercial lenders, right, the money hasn't necessarily dried up, but all of a sudden they have to take into account what's the likelihood of that guarantee being there in their underwriting decision to advance a loan, which they've never really had to do before, right? It's a foregone conclusion that the federal government pays its debts, at least historically speaking. So yeah, it's an interesting.
Was it 2011? I think it was President Obama, and they had that 11th hour scare.
Yeah, a little longer ago than I remember, but yeah, that's probably right.
But I don't know. I think we've all come to expect the unexpected. So I do think it's a lot of saber rattling. But and by the way, I looked it up. It's 75% guarantee for over 150K, 85% for sub 150K. So I think we were both technically wrong. Although actually I think you were right, but I'd like the record to reflect that you were wrong as well.
I would like the record to reflect I was closer to right, at least for the Main Street businesses we're doing, Eric.
Fair enough. Good. So Kevin, Masterclass is charging on. We're into issue number 2 for the Masterclass. The reception has been pretty awesome.
Has it surprised you in the same way it has me? Like, I mean, the amount of readers, and not just readers, but like, I mean, we obviously have access to all these back end analytics and statistics. The amount of people actually actively clicking and reading and going through the masterclass, that to me is mind blowing. I expected, rightly or wrongly, 20%. I think we're well north of half, right?
Yeah. I don't know anything about this, but from what I've been able to Google, like the open rate. So we have 54% open rate. Had over 10,000 views on issue 2. We're now up over 11,000 subscribers. So that's up 1,000 from last week, which is pretty wild. 1,000 people in 1 week chose to subscribe. We had 25,000 views in the aggregate for issue 1, which is
that's across written and the audio podcast form. Yeah.
Yep. And now the audio is available on where can people find it, Kevin?
Yeah, the main platforms right now are Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and Google. My understanding is it's a little hard to find on Spotify. I've been doing some research. The Spotify algorithm buries podcasts until it gets listens and reviews. So I got to get with a few people with a direct link.
So we need people to listen to it and review
exactly.
it.
Well, we'll find some ways to get some folks
review,
direct links and reviews and get it in the search results. But yeah, so we've heard of a few situations of folks searching for it and not being able to find it. That's why. But if you search M&A Masterclass on Apple Podcasts, it comes up in like the top 2. Comes up right at the top of the search results and easy to grab. I'm new to the podcasting game, so I'm kind of like nerding out on learning this stuff. When we posted it to Substack, which is our host, the feed fed it to Apple literally within like 2 or 3 minutes. So it was live almost immediately when it was published and went out to the email subscribers. So pretty close to that 9 a.m. Eastern Saturday time, at least on Spotify. I'll be checking Google and Amazon going forward as well. And we'll work on Spotify, but and then of course direct through Substack is the other easy way. If you're a subscriber, you get a direct link to the audio right in your email inbox at 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday as well. So,
awesome. I'm a big fan of on Twitter. Like my thing is the bookmarks more than anything else. I'm like, if people are bookmarking my tweets, it means I'm putting out stuff that they read and they go, "This is good. I want to refer back to this later." And I think that should be the goal. It's nice to put out a tweet that says, your kids are you're in first class and your kids are in the back with the nanny and get lots of engagement. No disrespect to that tweet. I thought it was fantastic, but engagement for engagement's sake, I don't think is not, at least not my goal most of the time. And so same thing with the podcast, likes, comments, whatever that can help us reach more people and have a meaningful impact long-term is cool. This week, the issue is an overview. We dive into what is a transaction from initial outreach to the NDA, letter of intent, due diligence, financial diligence, getting the money to actually close the deal, negotiating your agreements, timelines, who's involved in the transaction, familiarity with the players, the cast of characters.
Yep.
So, I mean, writing this got me excited, Kevin, and I actually went back through it a couple of times. You were editing, I'm editing, and this ideas are percolating, and I'm like, we're gonna get the best QE providers, we're gonna get the best lenders, we're gonna get I was at the dinner last night just hamming it up with brokers, and they were telling me all the secrets, they were telling me all the things that kind of grind their gears, the misconceptions about them, and I'm like, we're bringing this to everybody in the masterclass, and just gonna have a ton of great conversations and really expose this process to a degree and to a level that has never been done before, and quite frankly cannot be done in writing. And so I'm super fired up, man. Anything in it that when you're reading through, like, you got excited about or you felt like was,
I'm excited most about the scope. Like, so we've been doing the first couple of episodes that we've done have really been kind of, the first one was introducing what the masterclass is. The second one that we just dropped is kind of an overview. And to stop and take a step back at the macro level, like, there are good Twitter threads on like one random discrete subject, right? There's good podcasts where someone confronted this issue where you can learn a little bit about that issue. But they're like, the breadth of information that we're about to drop on the community, all in one place, all kind of methodically laid out, all easy to find. That's what gets me the most excited, because I really think it's going to become a reference resource for the entire business buying process. That's just so hard to find, because right now it's like, oh, I heard about this QSBS thing. Let me go back on Twitter and use the advanced search function to try and remember who wrote that one thread on QSBS that said this and that, as opposed to being able to go to this one masterclass and find the session on structuring or whatever it may be. That excites me. I get super pumped about just the breadth of information we're going to be covering.
Well, and for me personally, I want this to be an opportunity to like become a master of the craft, right? Like, I want to, by the end of this, I feel like I know a lot about S&B M&A from a legal perspective, but by the end of this, like, I want to be able to go out there and buy businesses, fill in all the blanks from every conceivable corner and angle, and that's my objective. And so I'm hoping that we can do it in a way that allows other people to reach the same level in the process. So
yeah, cool. Totally. I'm super pumped, super excited
for
this.
Short week, Kevin. We got is it a holiday on Friday technically, or do people just not work?
Was that a serious question, Eric? It is not a holiday on Friday.
Is it not? It's Monday. Is the holiday.
It's Monday. Monday's the holiday.
Well, Monday people 4-day weekends, right?
For me, it's the last day of school for my kids, and they have a half day. So at
crazy
worst, I'll be knocking off to celebrate with the kids midday on Friday, celebrating with the kids and kind of lamenting with my wife the next 12 weeks and how difficult it's going to be to have kids home. So there may be some margaritas involved. I don't know.
Yeah, as always. All right, Kev, let's get back to it.
Alrighty.